because there are many people who leave retirement with a huge sense of relief and excitement. You have your life back.
Maybe they were shocked when a month or 6 months or a year or even longer went by and they finally hit a wall. For some, it creeps up sooner, and others it hits later and harder. And you get that feeling of, okay, so now what? Or the feeling like everything feels a little out of control, although I'm bored, which is kind of a strange juxtaposition. Today, we want to focus on how to prevent boredom in this phase of life. Boredom is the silent killer that can end your retirement way too soon.
If you begin to let the days unfold with little or no planning, you're going to find yourself with idle time, and that can lead down a path of self-destruction.
Or at a minimum, feel lost and a little scared about what the next 30 years of your life will look like. There has to be more, and there is.
Boredom leads to loneliness, which leads to a list of chronic illnesses such as heart disease, anxiety, depression, and more.
Today, we're going to give you some easy, surefire steps to make sure this doesn't happen to you.
And you're going to finish this video knowing that what you can expect and make a plan to avoid this largest retirement challenge.
And stay to the end, where we're going to give you 3 easy steps to bounce back if you feel bored.
But before we go any further, we want to introduce ourselves. My name is Mark Rollins.
And I'm Jody Rollins, and we started Retirement Transformed not only for us, but also for you and the 10,000 people turning 65 every day.
Now, we don't focus on the financial aspects of retirement, but rather lifestyle, health, relationships, and more.
If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and also the notification button so you'll get notified when our videos come out.
All right, let's get into it. During your career, or if you were a stay-at-home mom or dad, you were busy, right? 40 to 60 hours a week, and you had a built-in schedule.
You did. If you had children, then that was your schedule, running them from place to place, organizing, being involved.
And you had routines,
and
right?
And you had routines that were commonplace. Maybe you got up at 6, there was coffee, you checked emails, maybe you had breakfast, you did a little exercise.
That's what we did.
To work.
That was what our morning was like.
It was.
But it was just automatic. We didn't even think about it. We had to do that.
Right.
And then at night,
we would come home, open a bottle of wine, cook some dinner, have another bottle of wine, watch some TV, and almost busy beyond busy. In fact, we made busy a thing in our house.
Yeah, during the week, it was sort of controlled chaos.
Yeah.
So
sometimes it was just chaos.
Weekends for us was resting, catching up, doing chores, doing laundry, going to dry cleaners, having fun with friends. But then we landed in retirement.
That's right. You land in retirement, and there's this huge relief that now you're free to commit and do whatever you want to do without a schedule.
And you're free from being tethered to your career with all of those responsibilities and time commitments.
That's right. And it opens up all sorts of opportunities, good and bad.
I remember our first Monday after retirement. We retired at the end of 2018 on a Friday at 3 in the afternoon. We walked out of the office.
With our boxes.
And I remember that Monday. The weekend was kind of cool. But I remember Monday, we still got up at 6 because our bodies were used to it. We still had the coffee. We still watched the news. But then we had more coffee, more news, and we said, hey, we've never really been able to watch the morning shows. Let's do that. All of a sudden, it was 10:30, and we're looking at each other like, now what do we do?
Well, and then if you think about it, on that Monday where the blues were just starting to sink in, we decided to shower and go out for lunch.
Right.
And what we didn't really click into was most restaurants were closed on Mondays that we would go to. So we came home and we made a list of chores we needed to do around the house.
Well,
this
wait
was
a second.
what we were going to do.
You made a list of chores I needed to do around the house, which wasn't really fair.
That's not true.
You wanted to keep me busy.
Well, and then Mark will say things like, let's go to Home Depot. And before I know it, we're at like 9 other stops and we finally get to Home Depot.
Well, we also decided let's start a Netflix series.
Which we had never really gotten into.
No. So all of a sudden, it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we hadn't done anything other than made a list, went to Home Depot, watched 3 hours of TV, and now it's time to cook dinner.
And then before we knew it, Tuesday looked like that, Wednesday looked like that, Thursday looked like that, and bam, there we are with a bored retirement.
And that was embarrassing to say.
Boredom had set in, and we didn't even want to say it to each other, but there it was.
Right.
It was there.
So we got to work.
We did. We dug ourselves out of that feeling and invested some real time in figuring out how would we fill our days.
Now, maybe you had a different experience, because there are many people who leave retirement with a huge sense of relief and excitement. You have your life back.
Maybe they were shocked when a month or 6 months or a year or even longer went by and they finally hit a wall. For some, it creeps up sooner, and others it hits later and harder. And you get that feeling of, okay, so now what? Or the feeling like everything feels a little out of control, although I'm bored, which is kind of a strange juxtaposition. Today, we want to focus on how to prevent boredom in this phase of life.
So the first thing you need to do is you need to do some planning.
I know what you're thinking.
And you've heard us say this before. But there's no way you went through a 30 or 40-year career without planning. So you need to plan in retirement too. Because you want to plan on how to fill this newfound 40-plus hours of free time that come your way. And it's going to guarantee you have at least one activity each day to look forward to.
It's also going to open up, opportunity for you to make some commitments, some firm commitments.
What about Deb?
We had a client, Deb, who ended up making a commitment to her college roommates after she retired that she was going to do 52 new things a year. That was one new thing every week for a year.
Sometimes alone, sometimes with her friends. But that's the other thing about this phase. Book some time with your friends. Go to a gym. Play golf with a friend. Just go have a cup of coffee. Or carve out time for your partner. Jody and I carve out a lot of time during the week for each other.
And I would say also, especially as a prior recovering working executive mom,
workaholic,
maybe carve some time out for just yourself.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to do? But again, by planning, you're going to open up your calendar and you're going to be able to make these commitments.
So morning time,
yeah,
our coffee, we sit and chat, no TV. It's funny because we did the whole thing in the beginning with the Netflix series and binging. We've really stepped away from TV. We don't do it that much. If it's a rainy day and we get the urge, maybe. But our coffee time is pretty sacred. I think that's important.
It is. And we don't even really turn on the news anymore because there's so many ways that we get news, right? So news comes at us through our phones and our laptops and YouTube and all these other places.
But besides the planning that we do when we're having coffee, we just have nice conversation.
We do. We chat about the kids and things we're going to do or dinner plans or opportunities each of us may have been given for the week. And we also talk about what we're grateful for.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people say, okay, we heard you say that, but what do you fill your days with? Well, we obviously have this business, but you also need to find something for ourselves. A hobby, exercise, reading, research. Go to the library. When was the last time you were in a library and got lost in some research on a hobby or anything that you wanted to learn something about? Or spend time with a friend. Having a community in retirement is really critical.
I also think this is a great time. I know for me, weekends were filled with chores when I was working because that was the only time I had a chance to do them.
But they were always the emergency chores.
Well, and they were also chores that kind of overwhelmed me because I had to get it all done. Now, I can space out. I can clean a closet. I can clean a drawer. I can organize part of the basement. I can take a load of stuff to a charity. So, adding a chore or something like that to do each day actually makes it a little more fun and a lot less pressure.
The other thing that we found is that we retired with closets filled with work clothes. That we haven't worn in years. We've already purged twice.
Right.
Really give serious thought to getting rid of your work clothes so that someone else can wear them. I think that's really, really important.
I think it's important to remember that building each day with a plan. Begin with your plan. It'll do wonders for your boredom. It almost negates the opportunity for boredom to get in.
Plus, I think it's okay at the end of the day when we're having dinner or whatever to check in and see how did we do today.
Right.
What was the best thing that we did today? And what are we looking forward to tomorrow?
Right. You know, if you stick to this schedule with the morning planning, making commitments and activities and filling your days, putting in some downtime too, you'll feel less bored and more excited about what tomorrow brings.
So the last thing we want to share with you to make sure boredom does not creep into your retirement is to protect your weekends. We did talk about that a little bit, how weekends were so important to us during our career. But they're really important now too. We really like our weekends.
We do. And, you know, we fight that urge and we fight that wave, and we actually fight some clients on the fact that they say, shouldn't every day be a Saturday now that I'm retired?
But our weekends, we still do fun weekends.
Right.
Stuff.
And our response is no. You know, protect your weekends, savor your weekends, still make Saturday Saturday.
Plus, you do want to plan some things. We did another video on this. You want to plan some things so you know what day of the week it is. Right? You don't want to just feel like every day's a Saturday, but we do certain things on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays and all of that. But the other thing about weekends is a lot of our friends are younger and they still work.
Right.
So we plan things to do on the weekend with them because they're more available.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's dinner out or a farmer's market or breakfast or, you know, a day trip to a village nearby, we plan that on the weekends, really savoring that weekend time. You know, what you don't want to do is be a weekend homebody because there are crowds. You know, it's okay these days to get out. You know, bring your own crowd into the weekend. Bring your own energy into the weekend. So we're a big fan of weekends.
So make your weekends fun. All right, we're at the end, and we wanted to give you 3 steps to get unstuck if you feel like you're bored. First thing is, as soon as you feel bored, do something fun for yourself. Do not sit there in your sadness. Work on the hobby, read for an hour, call a bunch of friends. Just pick up your phone and call your friends. Don't just sit there and lament that you're bored.
You know, something easy you can do is to just turn on some music, loud music, dance, sing. I like loud music. Mark doesn't so much, but I turn on music when I feel that boredom creeping in. The second thing is spend some time planning a vacation. Dream a little, Google some fun places, pick some great hotels or resorts. Make it a project that when you have time, you feel that you can work on it. Get a folder, include kids, don't include kids, include another couple, talk to your spouse. Where do you want to go and how can you dream? There's actually science around the fact that you get happier when you're planning a vacation as opposed to even just going on the vacation. So
you actually get happier planning your day. If you just sit there and plan your day, even if you don't do everything, it gets exciting.
Right.
All right, you're feeling bored. Here's the third thing you can do. Get out of the house and take a walk.
Fresh air.
If it's raining, if it's snowy, it doesn't matter. Dress for the weather. Go to a beach and walk along the beach or walk in the woods on a trail. The Japanese call that forest bathing. If you're bored, get out and move.
You know, feeling bored is not a good feeling, and it's not an option for you in retirement. If it continues for a long period of time, it can be debilitating.
When it kicks in, adjust and do something to get you out of this funk. Now, if you want to learn more ideas on having fun in retirement, check out this video right here. We just posted it a while ago, and it gives you a lot of great ideas.
And if you enjoyed this, please share with your friends, and also please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. And finally, join our free Facebook community. The link is also in the notes below.
Thanks for being with us today, and we'll be back again soon.